Hello and welcome to Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. I am Elvis and I'm normally the host, but tonight we are going to be joined for this special part 2 episode where if you haven't heard the first part, go back and listen to the episode before this, number 177 with Bunny, Wayne Kerr, and the librarian. This is part 2 and it picks up where they left off. It's a great episode. I'm out this week because I'm taking a little hiatus, but I'm happy to edit and give a little intro. But before I go any further, I'd like to tell you that this is a podcast where we use pseudonyms so we can be teachers and talk about our jobs. Also, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors because we have a Patreon where there are hundreds, like 60 wonderful people who support us, who give money every month, and who join, and they just keep everything going, and I love every single one of them for doing it. And so I would like to read their names. Are you ready? Here we go. I'd like to start with Kaylee, Eccentric ESOL Lady, Terry J, Justin M, Dracy B, Miss Wonderstats, Quentin P, Ekebex, Mistress Mischief, Natasha S, Miss Anthropy, Princess Buttercup, Dragon Lady, Kelsey, Helena C, Aaron B, Stephanie S, Texas Teacher Kristen, Miss Sunshine, James Nally J, Jody D, Samantha D, Lisa C, Rachel, Jan Genie, Exhausted Band Director, Kimberly K, Jessica A, Swift Lab Owners, Amanda F, Ariana L, Physics Runner, Steph, Michael M, William P, Aldrich T, Les Scorpionita, Britt M, Teresa H, Biker Teach, Marsha M, Christina B, Jason F, Abby B, Sarah B, Regina M, Josie S, Sam B, Mary E, Jamie B, Kristen W, Vanessa J, Mary C, RJR, Kristen C, Eugenia H, Irma A, Nimi, and Sarah N. Thank you guys so much for supporting the podcast. I'd also like to thank our fine sponsors at Ludlam Dramatics. If you are a theater teacher or you know one in your building, send them to Ludlam Dramatics where they can get all kinds of great resources. All right, folks, I appreciate you guys sticking with us. This is part 2, once again, of last week's episode, so I hope you enjoy Bunny, Wayne Kerr, and the librarian. Cheers, my friend.
All right.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Right. Well, yeah. Speaking of delinquent behavior here.
I'm right here.
I know. Things that may have gotten Wayne expelled if he lived in Kentucky.
Oh, come on.
I have here an article from the Reddits titled, "The Pendulum is Swinging on Discipline." So,
what's the only thing swinging?
I knew that one was about to happen as well.
You set him up for that. I mean,
to be fair, yeah. Okay.
That could have gone either way. Swinging as in fight or swinging as, I'll not explain the second one.
Yeah. So, delinquent behavior here, as I try to get us back on topic, like you are, in fact, one of my middle school students.
Sorry.
This was the first I'd heard of this, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts here, Wayne and Arwen. Jeez, I was going to try to call her by her government name, and I knew that wasn't.
How much have you had to drink?
Not enough, actually.
Yes.
Maybe you can chime in from the parent perspective on this, or this is from Reddit user Ferris Wheel Junkies 11. It says, Kentucky has sent a bill to the governor to sign that will allow students that are chronically disruptive to be sent to alternative schools, and that these alternative schools can be virtual schools. If a student is determined to be disruptive 3 times in 30 days, then they will be sent to an alternative school. I am sure my district will find some loophole to prevent actually following this law, but it is the beginning of some movement towards getting control back in the classroom. Wayne, what are your thoughts on this?
Is it though? Man, okay, so I got 2 thoughts on this. First off, you're trying to get them into a alternative school. Was that really solving the problem or just amplifying the problem? Because yes, some of the alternative schools will actually do their job and get down on these kids and take care of it. But some of them, it's just putting everybody in a group project and expecting the top, what's the word I'm looking for? Top students or top behavior, top intelligence. And then they see that some of the other kids are getting away with doing less work, then that's not really raising the standard much as giving them more opportunity to see what other troublesome kids are doing and saying, oh, I could add that to my repertoire.
I was going to say, do we really want to put all of the screwballs around each other?
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a good plan.
I mean, that sounds like a podcast I listen to. Oh, wait.
We're already there. Welcome. Welcome to Teacher Needs a Drink podcast.
Yes.
I am conflicted about this because I see where they're trying to go with it. And the part of me that wants to string a certain child up by their toenails every day just because they're driving me that crazy. Like, part of me is like, yes, get them out of here. But then also, like, my less reactive side, we'll put it that way. I have concerns about, like we said, putting all the screwballs in one place. Honestly, concerns about the school to prison pipeline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we, like, especially if it's a virtual thing, we're pretty much just going to be giving kids permission to go home, and there's going to be even less accountability.
Oh, for sure.
There.
Because a lot of those kids are going home and there's no adult in sight.
No structure, nobody standing over them.
Keeping them from going to the library and watching inappropriate things. Oh, wait, they do that at home.
They're doing that now.
Exactly.
Full circle. My bad.
I see where they're trying to go with this, but I'm frankly not sure this is the answer, because it just seems kind of extreme.
3 times in 30 days seems that seems like a lot.
Yeah. Now,
I realize I'm not in the classroom, but that's
as a parent of can I give like rough ages for your children here?
Yeah, sure.
A middle school student and an elementary age student. What would be your thoughts if you heard that your kids' schools were implementing something like this?
I would definitely have concerns, especially with the elementary school, just because it's a Title I school, which I don't think is giving too much away because there's quite a few. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those kids just don't have any structure at home, and being at school in person is where they get their structure and where they get their meals and where they get their interaction with adults who care about them. And yeah, they might act up occasionally, but does that mean we're just going to cart them off somewhere else and not let them learn? I don't know. I would have a lot of concerns about just that school in particular, but any school that's similar to the one where my kids go.
Is that the same school? Is your younger kiddo at the same school that your husband teaches at?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm familiar with that.
He would probably have lots of thoughts. Also, he's very displeased that I got asked to be on the podcast before him.
Oh.
You know what?
Get him. Shots fired.
Get him in here. Get him in here. So we now have 2 special guests, dear listeners. We have Mr. Everdeen, who is it 3rd grade or 5th grade?
5th.
Elementary age. Elementary school teacher.
Yes.
So I'm going to let him read this Reddit while we're...
Oh, really? Reddit. Oh, perfect.
So from an elementary perspective, because Mr. Wayne and I have kind of the middle school and upper, glasses on, but from an elementary teacher perspective, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Holy cow. That's extreme.
Okay.
We actually at our campus, we have a behavioral program that is a behavior intervention setup. So it's a specific classroom with a specific staff that is specifically trained for students who are dealing with some sort of ED or BIP. that
I want
requires
to tell people what ED and BIP are.
sure emotional disturbance or behavior intervention
Bad
plan.
ED, my bad.
Yeah, Wayne,
Wrong ED,
the one you were
Wayne.
thinking of.
Sorry, that's
Sorry.
where my elementary brain goes. Even as a guy, I didn't even think about that.
This is the difference between elementary school teachers and middle school teachers right there.
Yeah, that's definitely not in my vocabulary with the acronyms. But
Sorry.
yeah, it's a all good. But that's more of that transitional program that leans towards the least invasive measures of intervention. So if you are, and again, it says 3 disruptive.
Yeah, 3 and 30 days.
One, chronic is every day. First of all, let's define chronic. That's every day.
Yeah.
I could find 50% of my student body that would be severely disruptive 3 out of the 5 days every week, and therefore half of my class would be in this alternative program. That's not sustainable.
And if we're talking about like emotional disturbance, that's something that I feel like, again, Miss Arwen, Miss Everdeen there was saying about like the COVID babies who haven't developed these like social classroom and schools and social and classroom skills. And then also just like the impact of trauma on student behavior, because being in a Title I school, like that's something that you see every day. Yeah, poverty and kids in and out of, the foster system, and like that's something that I feel like would disproportionately affect students in poverty.
Yeah, they're in survival mode. And so therefore the way they look at and interact with the world is very, very different than from someone who knows where they're going to put their head down at night, knows where their next meal is coming from, doesn't have to worry about it. That's a whole different way of living. And if you are someone who has never experienced that before, you have a very hard time empathizing with those students. And therefore, what could be considered disruptive to one person is just normal for somebody else.
Also, I feel like some of that could come down to subjectivity, like teachers and admin, like the subject that, because Wayne and I both teach the same content area subject, and we're used to a certain level of noise and controlled chaos in our classrooms, whereas someone who is used to teaching, say, a math class that's going to be a little more structured and a little more like sitting down and, papers and pencils and things like that, would walk into one of our classrooms and, probably think that the inmates were in charge of the asylum. And,
But they are.
Some days it definitely, swings that way. But as far as giving this, if I was going to give this a letter grade, I would give it, and Wayne is definitely going to make a joke about this, I would give this a D for a grade because
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Yep.
Wait,
because I feel like
Wayne, go ahead.
They still offer D's?
I'm not touching it.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Exactly.
Oh no, that's where this is going.
And we've just frightened the elementary school teacher in the room.
Yeah, I'm walking away from this one.
Yeah.
Good call. Thank you, Mr. Everdeen, for your contribution there.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Mr. Everdeen, you have to realize my name is Wayne Kerr.
No, I love it. I love it. Now,
All right.
Now I know the bounds with which we are in.
You got the vibe now.
That's the vibe. So I would say a grade of
Not passing.
Not passing. I could see where they were trying to go with this, but it's not going to pass and it's not going to work. So it's a no from me
can for sure see teachers taking advantage of that
Oh, yeah.
with
yeah.
kids they just don't care for, and that's not okay.
No.
Or, I mean, as much as I hate to say this, we've all probably at some point dealt with teachers who had a racist streak that they were not very good at concealing. And yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's a no from me. Kentucky, get your shit together. Okay.
Yay!
One more. We have a Wayne. Can I ask you to read the message from?
Oh God! Now you expect me to read? I mean, I've been going blind over here.
Jeez.
Okay, a question for you all. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Is there a? Oh, it's down at the bottom.
Yeah, the
Mama Bear
Okay.
Teacher.
So, Mama Bear Teacher writes us and says, a question for you all. I work in an independent school. Yes, you heard that right, a tuition-based school, but yet they pay the teachers not well and expect us to consistently donate our time and resources out of contract hours for the sake of the team. Prime example, they host an auction every year and want teachers to provide a skill class, an event, or even a basket of items out of our own pockets for the benefit of the school. New employees are hounded to donate to the giving fund so that they can tell all the prospective parents that teachers are. Wait, what? Sorry, take again. New employees are hounded to donate to the giving fund so they can tell all prospective parents that teachers are that engaged with the school. Is this a push against boundaries? Note, all things are optional, but highly encouraged. I personally stick to my contract obligations and politely turn down any other opportunities. I love this school because of who they are mission-wise and what they provide for students. But is this the new norm? You work here, so you be present for everything and contribute always? Why? So, Mama Bear Teacher, if I can just go ahead and start with the answer that I would give you.
Go off.
This should definitely not be the norm, and I am sick of this bullshit. And this isn't just, tuition-based school. I would say this is all schools in general, or at least that's been my experience. Being the content that I am, it is often expected that I am supposed to run a after-school program, and I am also expected to help other after-school programs when they are in my space. And quite frankly, look, to any of my colleagues that may be listening to this, it's not that I mind, it's just the time. The amount of time that goes into this. Actually, I can speak from a different perspective. When I was doing high school, the high school that I worked at, it had 17 events on its stage. None of those were theaters. Those were just concerts, choir concerts, band concerts. We had some other school groups that came in and did like a fashion show, a dance show, you name it, we probably had it on our stage. And I was expected to work that event, or at least supervise working said event with no compensation, for which I still give that same school district as many middle fingers that I can. I don't give a shit if it's in the contract that says other duties as assigned. That's bullshit. That is my time away from my kids and a majority of the reason why I will never teach high school ever again. So if it is the new norm, go fuck yourself. That's my soapbox.
I was going to say, I don't even feel like it's that new, because 2 schools ago, like a school that I was at for a long, long time, they had a giving campaign for a charity thing one year. And if every teacher on the staff donated, we got to have, I don't know, a jeans day or some other.
It's a party.
Yeah, right. So it was something of that ilk, right?
Something lame. Yeah.
And it was to the point that And like, I hadn't donated because I'm like, no, this isn't really a cause that I support, give a shit about. And it got to
And you
so
work
like
hard for your money.
I was one of the last holdouts, and I had other teachers coming to me going like, can I just give $10, under your name so that we can have blah, 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 whatever it was. And I was like, good Lord, this is like how much pressure the whole thing just reminds me of that whole like Pieces of Flair scene from Office Space. To our younger listeners, if you are not familiar with that classic work of cinema, go acquaint yourself immediately, because there are just so many cultural references that remain way too relevant. But it just the Pieces of Flair
don't
thing,
have to
like
do GPS reports.
Oh God, please!
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Yeah, so
we won't evolve into Office Space quotes, I promise.
Sorry.
No, it's that is the natural tendency whenever that masterpiece is referenced. Well, you're doing what's required, but officially, according to your contract, but unofficially, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get shunned, socially, or be looked over when it comes to, teacher of the month, or, I feel like it's not necessarily a new thing, Mama Bear Teacher. Like, this is some bullshit that's been going on for a while. That's my word of the day, apparently. Teachers aren't in it for the income. We're in it for the outcome, and whatever.
Yeah, fuck that nonsense.
Whatever is best for kids. And don't you want to support the kids and support I want to support my child also. Like, I want to pay my bills. That's why I'm here. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy my job and feel passionately about it, but this expectation that teachers should just keep giving and giving and giving out of our own pockets because it's good for kids we've said it before, we've said it over and over on this podcast, that is abusive relationship dynamics right there.
Yes. And that's how you burn out all the good teachers.
Thank you.
That's why nobody can find anyone to teach at their schools anymore. They just burn out all the good ones, and then what are we left with?
Yeah. I've known so many teachers that were like above and beyond teachers up until the last couple of years, and then that burnout hit critical mass and they bounced for their mental health. So so in summary, Mama Bear Teacher, we support your continued working to your contract and not giving in to these abusive relationship dynamics. Yeah. More power to you. Indeed. We support you.
Yes.
Hey guys, guess what?
What?
We have a Patreon.
Oh my God.
Yes, it's true. All the cool kids do have Patreon. For just a few dollars a month, you too can support your local teacher, podcaster, artists, and help keep the lights on here at Teacher Needs a Drink. You get exclusive access to a Facebook group that has other like-minded teachers, and I can speak from personal experience that it is a delightful place to be in the cesspool that can be the internet in the year of our Lord 2023. That section of Facebook is actually really lovely and uplifting and irreverent and all of the things that you have come to love. So that is open to you when you join the Patreon. There's a whole backlog of interviews with hosts and interviews with other regular listeners and special features of all different kinds. We do movie reviews. We do movie watch parties. If you are somebody out there who enjoys this podcast, if this sparks joy in your life, feel free to toss a coin to your podcasters and join us on the Patreon, and do it now. Woohoo! Okay. Here we go. I already know what my answer is on this.
Oh, good.
Oh,
God.
boy.
She found the loophole.
Yes, I did. Would you rather, when you go out, you always have to be on a leash, or would you rather only get aroused by predator versus prey chases on Animal Planet?
Oh, man.
I mean, who says that I don't walk around with a metaphorical leash? I mean, come on.
I'm glad that you finished that sentence the way that you did. Because when you started with who says that I don't, I got real scared for a second.
I got a little nervous too.
I mean,
So,
my wife will be the first one to tell you I can't take him anywhere. So,
I've met Mrs. Kerr, and she's a saintly woman, to be sure. She puts up with a lot. Wayne, do you have a decision there?
well, that was my decision. I mean, I'm already on a metaphorical leash. Let's just go ahead and make it a real thing.
Make it a literal one?
Yeah, because I'm sorry. I don't want to have to watch TV just to get aroused.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really leaning towards the leash myself. I mean, I feel like I could come up with a good story for that, if I needed to.
There's got to be some sort of creative wackadoo story to go along with it.
Hey, don't
Well,
use
let's be
wackadoo.
honest. If you see a grown-up walking around with a leash on, are you really going to say anything? I mean, I wouldn't. I'm sure some people would, but
especially in certain cities.
I would. Yeah. I would honestly probably, and this is how old I am right now, like at this point, I would chalk it up to some new fashion trend that I was too old and unhip to understand. And that's probably what I would think. My first thought, honestly, was the leash thing, because it doesn't say, here's my bunny loophole, it doesn't say that anybody has to be holding the other end. So you could just tuck it into your shirt and nobody has to know.
Yeah.
But the whole Animal Planet scenario, I mean, that seems like a way that you could, kind of make sure that unfortunate things don't occur. You've got a fair amount of control over when you watch Animal Planet or
Very
don't.
True. Very
so,
true. It's like, do you remember that show, The Greatest American Hero? Like when he saw red, that's what made him turn in. I think that's what it was. He saw red and he turned into the superhero. He didn't have a lot of control over that, but this you could control.
Yeah, I was going to say red is everywhere, but
right. That's
you can decide when you do or don't want to watch some Animal Planet. So
exactly.
Yeah, but what if you're sitting in a school or maybe even the library and you have to watch the assignment?
Oh, that could be bad.
And it goes full circle.
We have to ban Animal Planet at the library now. Great.
Okay, so leash it is then. Guys, it has been a pleasure having you on. Wayne, thank you for being my stalwart co-host companion.
Comic relief. With
Comic relief, yes.
Terrible innuendo.
Miss Arwen, fun fact, Wayne has actually known me since I was 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because it was a little baby bunny. I went to a summer camp that was held at a university, and he happened to be working at that camp. And then, so we've known each other for a minute.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for making me feel old, too.
I didn't say how old you are now. I didn't say how old I am now.
It's fine. I'm probably older. It's fine.
It's all fine because age is just a number that happens to run me over. So,
as long as my age is still below highway speed limits, I'm calling it good.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So, Wayne, thank you. And thank you especially for joining us at the last minute, Miss Arwen Everdeen. I loved getting to have you on and hear your librarian thoughts. And
thanks for having me. This was fun.
Well, thank you for fighting the good fight for
librarians.
Intellectual freedom.
Intellectual freedom. That's the phrase I was trying to think of. But the only thing that was popping to my mind was screw censorship. So that intellectual freedom and screw censorship. That's a tongue twister.
Yes,
screw censorship. So, yeah. Okay.
I apologize that I scared off your husband, but hopefully we didn't scare off you.
No, he's not really scared. He's just pretending.
He's wearing his good elementary school teacher hat right now and not embarrassing himself on the podcast.
That's exactly right.
So, well, thank you. Yes to Mr. Everdeen as well. And
cheers! Woohoo! Yay! All right, folks, I'd like to thank you for listening to part 2 of this 2-part series with Bunny, Wayne Kerr, and Miss Everdeen. I'll be back in a few weeks. Next week, I believe we have Count Chocolate's going to be taking over for me. And then the week after that, we have Miss Shirley Tempers taking an episode. After that, I believe I'll be back, but I'll be still around here just to read these intros and intros. Thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you to all the hosts for help covering for me. I love you guys and appreciate you so much. You guys are the best. All right, everyone out there, cheers.